Hello everybody, here I am, the Gunslinger, with another replay for you from the Teamspeak TL Open number 22. And we are going to have a couple good players here to demonstrate some good strategies and some high-level gameplay, so you could learn a thing or two. In the top right position on Xel'Naga Caverns, we have Evil Genius's EGIdra, so I'm going to do another EGIdra replay for you today. And then in the bottom left corner, as the pink Protoss, we see Cardril. Now, we already know the skill of EGIdra, but I don't know too much about Cardril, so I'm hoping to see some great strategy. Looks to be that he is preparing for his wall-up right off the bat. Now, I've actually been struggling in the games a little bit, especially against Zerg. Now, this PvZ kind of intrigues me to see how he handles it. I have my own little way of playing the game, but let's see what Cardril does. A lot of times in this big part of the competitive area, I know this is the 5th round, but you don't really get to see too much cheese. A lot of times you see EGIdra loving to go for his macro game. However, if you apply the pressure on him, he has been shown to fumble a little bit. So he has succumbed to early pressure builds before. He likes to stick to his particular style. If you let him play his game, he will continue to dominate you if necessary. Now, Cardril has already scouted him, kind of knows what's up. Saw the gas being, well, he didn't exactly see the gas go down. He didn't stay and scout for too long, so he basically must have just been expecting a cheese, knowing exactly what EGIdra was going to do. Going for that gateway and the assimilator, nothing too varying here. He is spending the chrono boost on his Nexus, however. So he's going for that immediate economy. It seems like he's already ahead in one harvester, but that can change so quickly. Now, what Cardril is actually doing is he set up a quick little rally here so that he can make sure that EGIdra, well, whenever EGIdra does go for that expand, that he'll be able to spot it right away, maybe even deny it. Good playing by Cardril to go ahead and move these pylons around his main base, so that he can see if any overlords come in to either drop a worker or drop banelings or anything along those lines. Now, Cardril is going to go ahead and go for a cybernetic score, so you are going to see that build timing. He's actually going for a very, very late cybernetic score, instead deciding to macro up and get a lot of workers. In fact, he's starting to saturate his mineral, and he's almost got the max amount needed. Now, Cardril is going to continue to patrol here. Meanwhile, it seems like the spawning pool is done, and we will see a few Zerglings enter onto the field to deal with this probe. He is also going for metabolic boost, so you're going to see a speedling expand. This is a pretty good build against Protoss, as it allows him to get the early Zerglings out there with some speed so that he can do some good damage. Allows for a safe expansion by EGIdra. EGIdra, you're going to see me waffle that around a lot. Now, continuing to chrono boost his Nexus will allow him to get even more workers. Now, he may be going for some form of fast expand here. He's not going for a forge first. He's not deciding to wall off in any capacity. So these Zerglings are going to move forward, not going to scout anything on the way. And instead, he's going to put down 3 gates. So we're going to see 3 gates, maybe see something transition to a 3-gate robo. Hopefully this Zealot's on hold position. As, ooh, there's also a sentry there. So EGIdra just kind of poking forward to see that there is just one Zealot there defending for the time being, otherwise another unit would have shot at him. This expansion has gone down for EGIdra, and he is almost complete. It's just entering the final quarter of its morphing stage. Now, Cardril is going to force field those Zerglings forward. He is, however, going to allow them to run by. That's very bad control by Cardril. He needed to hold those Zerglings there, maybe send forward the sentry instead to force field and block them in. Instead, he allowed them to kind of poke around in his base. However, they're going to scout, and he's going to destroy them right off the bat, put down a pylon, and you can expect to see a quick expansion here in the near future. Meanwhile, more workers being made. He needs to apply the pressure on EGIdra, otherwise he will continue to macro up and continue to produce drones when he knows he is safe. He's also going to start to move his creep down the line. Another good idea. An Evo chamber also going down for EGIdra, so you will see some upgrades as well as some continued... you could see him put down spine crawler or spore crawlers as well, in the case that air units and warp or void rays are going to be put into play for Cardril. He's going for my typical style of build, to be honest. He's going for this sentry heavy build to allow himself to defend his base pretty easily with force fields and able to surgically tear apart an army. Very good play. Gonna go ahead and put a forge down, so he is going to attempt to wall off here, maybe use a couple of cannons. Warp gate has finished, so he is going to continue to do that, put another gateway down, and yes, he will go ahead and continue his warp in. Now another extractor going down for EGIdra. He's actually going for 2 extractors at this time. Pretty good play. You may see something tech into, well, typically I see a lot of techs into Hydras at this point because they can get some range on those sentries and shoot over those force fields. He also could get some roaches as well, so that's very effective. Expansion now done for Cardril, so he's going to be able to move his workers over and get his economy moving forward even further. He is a little behind in the harvester count, and I'd like to see him apply a little bit of pressure. Ooh, he's going to put down a hallucinated phoenix. That's another good idea. Good play. He's going to go ahead and move that forward to scout anything on its way. He's probably going to check over here for other expansions. Meanwhile, there is an overlord over Cardril's base, and he doesn't have anything to really deal with it. Now he decides to move forward with this army. He's going to put down a photon cannon behind his base for any type of run-by that may occur. This is decent here. However, this overlord is going to scout out everything, seeing it is basically a 3-gate expand, but he's also seen the sentries from before with his units. He knows exactly what's going on. So everything's placed around the map, specifically at this Zelnaga watchtower and at any... Well, he does have an overlord over in the side position as well. 5 roaches, 6 roaches on the way because he does know a push is coming. The creep spread, not as good as it could be, but he will be able to see some advanced movement. Meanwhile, roaches are destroying the destructible rocks. So that will be beneficial as well. With this push incoming, EGIdra's actually been supply blocked after losing an overlord, probably the one that was hiding in his base. A lot of sentries and stalkers, so this will be very good. Force fields will be huge, however, there are a nice amount of roaches. He's going to push back. Now that's actually very good. Forcing EGIdra to make those roaches instead of workers allows for the economy to catch up for Cardril, and sure enough, as I say that, he is slowly trying to catch up, going for weapons upgrades as well. Meanwhile, Burrow, Glacial Reconstruction, and Missile Attacks level 2 going down for EGIdra, so he is ahead in upgrades, I believe. More destructive rocks being destroyed by Cardril, so he can try and meet the 3rd expansion by EGIdra that is starting right about now. Now, it does seem like EGIdra has a lair, so we may see it either just simply going for more upgrades, or he may go for, well, I do like to see Hydras eventually, especially against an army such as this. Now, EGIdra does have a lot of roaches, so it seems his style this time will simply be mass roach. He's also supply blocked once again, so he's going to go ahead and wait for those 3 overlords to finish, but instead decides to push out and apply the pressure with his units, maybe lose some so he can continue. Now this expansion is going down for Cardril. He does see it. EGIdra did see it, so that is probably why he is attacking, to apply that pressure while 400 minerals are being used on something other than units. Sentries are going to try and defend themselves. The force fields are able to do some damage, but EGIdra is going to burrow and move the roaches into the mineral line, able to destroy these workers. Oh wow, that could be devastating. Great force fields going down for Cardril. However, the roaches will be able to slowly work their way back, but EGIdra is going to cut his losses, pull his roaches back for just a little bit, going to warp in 7 more as well. Great force field uses by Cardril. This is the type of play style that I like to see. You see a lot of that with Huck as well. He will go for that style of play if he doesn't go for robotics. Great job destroying those roaches. The roaches not as effective at this point. You see here that so many units were killed by Cardril, but 7 workers destroyed. That'll put him behind in the income war. Now this nexus is almost completed, going to put down 3 more cannons as well. Basically playing SimCity at this point. More roaches moving forward, however there are no more sentries. The roaches did destroy them. Stalker is going to move forward. There is an immortal able to do some damage on the roaches, but it does get focused down. Will the Stalkers be able to micro back and be able to handle this attack? Roaches doing damage over time. The focus firing not exactly happening for Cardril, but he basically had the numbers game going. But more units, 10 more roaches, 8 more roaches still being put down for EGIdra. He will be able to constantly apply this pressure. Now the Stalker's pulling back once again. He needs to get concave over these roaches and do more damage. The workers being pulled in a pure moment of panic. So much for that. EGIdra just has such a large economy. He's got 1 base that doesn't have any workers on it just yet, but he does have 2 other bases that are basically maxed. Also going for an infestation pit and carapace and ground armor level 1 upgrades. Now if we go ahead and see, more immortals are going to be produced by Cardril. He does need to get those coming down the pipe very quickly, going for, it seems like, just armor level 1, so he is still very behind. He's only got weapons level 1. Meanwhile, EGIdra is going to move forward with level 2 attack upgrades, as well as burrow, and they can heal themselves while they are underground. Now he is also going for pathogen glands. and that will allow him to improve himself even greater. Going for this risky gold expansion, not so risky when you have map control and a nice lead, and you are so far ahead in workers. At this point, EGIdra has it well in hand. He's going to go ahead macro up even further, continuing to grow, continuing to build on. He will destroy his opponents at any moment he deems necessary. He does decide that he's going to go ahead and push down this way. He will be able to pass by the worker, destroy it. Warpins coming down. Those cannons are there and able to push those roaches back. It would not be favorable to attack at that point. However, EGIdra is going to move around to the high ground, and he will be able to attack these units from the back. Very good placement. This has been done to me a couple times on this map. Meanwhile, a couple overlords going to be lost as well. Supply blocking EGIdra, but he knows he has the ability to do some good damage here. He is depleted. Well, no, he still has plenty of room for his growth. We're only 15 minutes into this game. Meanwhile, they are both max, so very good macro by these players. However, I did see some good micro from Cardril. However, EGIdra just showing his skill. Getting supply block for a bit, but he is quickly able to produce some more. Now, he is also going to go up to lair, so we may see some Ultralisks against this massive Stalker army. Pretty good use. Now, Cardril does have this Overseer, so he will also not only be able to do some great scouting, but he'll also be able to see his opponent burrow his roaches, so they will not be as effective if they try to go around some force fields, even though he is focusing so much on Stalkers and Immortals, having 3 of them. Looking at the unit counting station, he does have 23 Stalkers, meanwhile 42 Roaches and 3 Infestors. We see that EGIdra did move on to his Infestors. They do have a decent amount of energy. No Neural Parasite, no need for that, really. He's going to focus a lot on his fungal growth, maybe even some Infested Terrans if need be. His creep spread is probably the most phenomenal thing. He's taken over half the map, and he's just continued to push. Basically, at this point, Cardril is letting EGIdra get so far ahead that there's basically nothing he can do about it. He would need something along the lines of, well, I personally think that Void Rays would be spectacular here. They can't attack the air at all. The only thing that EGIdra would be able to do is fungal growth them. However, the Stalkers would be able to do even more damage against him. Spire and a Hydralisk going down, as well as another expansion. No, it seems like a macro hatchery instead. So I was able to notice that right away. Colossus is coming down, will be somewhat effective, but I still think Void Rays would be really good against a Roach army, as air units will be able to do significant damage. However, he wouldn't be able to mass them up at this point. Now the Roaches are going to fire. Will there be any? There's actually Neural Parasite going down on the Colossus and this Immortal. So a major amount of damage will be done by this Colossus, not noticing it, not focusing on the Infestors, and he's just going to Neural Parasite everything. Gonna destroy his own workers in that case. Destroy these easy units. This will be a quick GG. EGIdra's gonna pop down some Infested Terrans, and there goes the entire army for Cardril. He's trying to warp in some more units, but most of it is based on that economy. He does have an even amount of workers, but EGIdra is just going to destroy as much as possible. Not able to remax his army as fast as the Nimble Zerg. The Stalker's trying to do some damage, but not only after the Forge and the Pylon go down, soon this Nexus will go down as well. There is no way Cardril can come back from such a defeat like this. Roaches moving forward, destroying any units that move onto the field. Now, more Roaches going to move down to this, even more heavily defended expansion. 3 more gates going down, but that's not the best decision to go for. Should have just easily rebuilt the Pylon and been able to come back with and have more money to spare, but Cardril is going to GG. EGIdra's going to move on in this tournament, and he just showed that he had the macro skill. So I do got to applaud EGIdra for applying the pressure needed, doing some good damage, destroying those workers, using his roaches properly, and getting the upgrades necessary, and just playing a solid macro game. However, Cardril did allow him to expand. He did apply some pressure early on, but did not apply enough. Needed that Observer out to destroy this creep highway because it allowed EGIdra to control basically the entire map. So that's what I learned in this game. Hopefully you learned a couple things as well. Please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you guys next time.